The Honourable Leader of the New Democratic Party.
Mr. Speaker, I want to ask the Premier about some areas of real struggle in the province. One of these is rental housing. 20% of renters in the province are paying out more than half of their income in the rent. And people are regularly reporting having to leave their homes because of sudden rent increases that are in the hundreds of dollars. And there is a solution to this problem: rent control. Other jurisdictions have adopted this solution, as we in Nova Scotia ourselves had it until it was done away by the Liberal Party in the 1990s. Will the Premier acknowledge, as his government comes towards its 6th year in office, that a lot of people are having a very hard time because of this government's tepid and inadequate approach to rental housing?
The Honourable Premier.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I want to thank the honourable question for raising this very important issue. He's very right, Mr. Speaker. Housing can be a real challenge for many Nova Scotians, eating up much of their disposable income, Mr. Speaker, when it comes to trying to make sure they put a roof over their family. Mr. Speaker, it's why we brought in rent supplements, continue to work with people across our province to provide them with a safe home. We're very pleased with the housing announcement we made with the national government. Mr. Speaker, there were some announcements about improving our own infrastructure when it comes to our own housing across the province to ensure that we have more affordable units in communities from one end of Nova Scotia to the other, and then continuing to make sure that we're providing affordable housing, Mr. Speaker, as we continue to see this city grow.
The Honourable Leader of the New Democratic Party.
Mr. Speaker, a second area where many people are really struggling is the area of getting access to mental health support. Wait times that are measured in months to see a mental health clinician are a scandal in our province. And this, too, is a problem that has solutions. In PEI, in Ontario, and Newfoundland, Labrador, and BC, they have developed systems of same-day, next-day counselling appointments for people needing mental health supports. But here in Nova Scotia, nothing of the sort has been brought forward. As we stand at almost the 6-year mark of his period in office, does the Premier realize how disappointing this lack of real improvement on this front is to so many people in our province?
The Honourable Premier.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Again, I want to thank the Honourable for bringing this important issue to the floor of the legislature. He would know, Mr. Speaker, we've continued to invest in Schools Plus. We're providing more opportunities in schools across the province for early identification and detection of mental health issues. That's what our panel of experts have identified. He would know that we continue to expand CAPER-based program, something starting in Cape Breton that we're using across the province to provide supports for families and those suffering from mental illness, Mr. Speaker. We've increased the funding at Lang House to provide those supports. There's always more work for us to do, Mr. Speaker. We continue to reach out to the experts to get evidence-based solutions to the challenges facing our province to ensure that we can provide the entire supports, not only around those who are suffering from mental health, but around those who love them.
The Honourable Leader of the New Democratic Party on his final supplementary.
As we speak about areas of struggle today in Nova Scotia, there's no greater area of struggle than the climate emergency. This, as the Speaker has rightly said, the defining challenge of the era. But here again, there is in our province a path in the direction of solutions. All over the world, scientists, NGOs, other jurisdictions are putting forward plans, are putting forward goals for emissions reduction targets that are actually consistent with containing global heating within 1.5 degrees. But here in Nova Scotia, at the almost 6-year mark in office, this government has failed to put forward any kind of transformative solutions towards such a framework. Does the Premier recognize, here on the eve of the climate strike, that the government's record on climate change is for so many people in our province an object of dismay?
The Honourable Premier.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Again, Mr. Speaker, I want to thank the Honourable Member for the question. That will be part of our emergency debate tonight, Mr. Speaker. I look forward to hearing all members of the House comments on this very important issue. Very proud of the work that not only we've been doing as a government, but quite frankly, successive governments in the province have been doing to lead towards a national leader in GHG reduction. We continue to work towards ensuring that we reduce our carbon footprint. We will continue to make sure, Mr. Speaker, that we are leading the country. There will be targets set, Mr. Speaker, for us to achieve, and we'll exceed the limits or the targets set out by the federal government, Mr. Speaker, because Nova Scotians have been doing that work really since the mid-2000s, and we as a government look forward to continuing the effort that so many Nova Scotians have put in.